We are back in the lab with another lantern project. This is a RAYO 100. Not the biggest of the short globes, but yeah, good sized lantern. And this has got its issues. We'll give this thing a look over and, of course, go get the paint off it. This is a interesting paint scheme. I don't necessarily hate the paint scheme. I just hate this paint. It's fried. It's all fried up. So we're gonna look at all this stuff here. So what do you say, folks? Let's dig in to this RAYO. Okay. So let's start taking some parts off this thing. Of course, we know the cap is intact. I'll probably throw that in some. I'll probably throw this in some white vinegar while I'm doing paint removal. Get some of that tarnish off it, and we'll give it a nice polish. Take this. Unfortunately, it's not a proper globe, and this was in it when I got it. I'm glad it did have a globe in it because I am running out of this size globe in any capacity, whether they're marked or unmarked. Running out. This mechanism's tend to get a little funny. Yeah, it's just a rusty mess. That's all. We'll get her all cleaned up. Let's see. Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I can get pretty close to getting that out. I'm just talking out loud to myself. I think maybe if I hold it against myself. I never hold anything against myself. Let's see if I can get that out. There we go. Okay, so all I did with this was put this in between here and here, and I pulled this way with it. So I didn't use this or anything else for leverage. I just held this like handlebars and pulled it back. So that's how I got that out. I'm just looking at stuff so I can think ahead. And then it looks like no cracks in the solder there. It looks like it's real lead, not like a tin and lead mixture. It is a mess. As you can see, it is a mess. But I think we can fix all that up. I think the posts are... Looks like this thing had been beaten on, like it's been dropped on it, or something's been dropped on it. I think it's been dropped on his head a bunch of times. Okay. Well, mystery solved. Son of a gun. Okay. That's why there was one tab sticking out. 1/2 a tab. 2 tabs here. Now, you can see what happened here. All right, we got it out. And there's like not even anything to solder to. Doesn't look too bad at all. All right, so we will get this number 100 relieved of its paint. Well, I said, well, there's a second tab, but I just went to straighten it out and it broke off. And it was only a part of one. Okay. I was excited there for a minute. I thought, well, a little bit of that one left, a little bit of that. But question is, will any of these handle another reassembly? I'm just sampling. I'm just looking around, seeing what's up here. Looks like house paint. Red and black house paint. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the wheels rolling on that. Then I'll be back in here to work on some things. Okay, so the paint remover is doing its thing, and I was looking at my junk box, and I have a couple potential donors. These are pretty shot. I would want to take a closer look at these first to see, judging by the rest of this, how rusted it is. That, well, I mean, that's potential. This one is more potential. Question is, how big are the tabs? So I'm going to have to check that out. Okay, I'll go back over the top of this with a steel brush. I just thought I would use this until it's completely gone before heading back to the sink. That's what I'm doing now. I'll be back. Okay, well, find out that the dome is brass. Stripper helped a lot with the black paint. That very well with the red. I'm going to try a second application. Okay, well, the two applications, by the way, about 20 minutes in some white vinegar. Got all that tarnish off, and we'll get that polished up nice. This, gonna get the big wheel. I don't really know much of anything I can do to this. May need to widen these holes depending on what I do. This will go on the big wheel. The black paint came off pretty good. You know, probably about 80%. Red paint, the other hand, yeah, pesky. Okay, off to the big wheel with this stuff. Right, we are back from the big wheel, and I did just run in real quick and threw another couple squirts of Easy Off on there to get some of these remnants that I was having trouble getting to. And I did find some pinholes. So I'm going to tool around for those just a little bit. Do a little playing before I call it a night. Okay. those Walmart bits. I've been putting it through its paces. And it's still got some meat on it. All right, well, an hour ago I said, that's it for the night. Got a lot done, though. Got a lot done. Yeah, and a lot to do tomorrow, man. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, so we're going to be working on this disaster. Got 1.5 tabs. I was looking at my donors. These parts here are too wide. I would have to narrow these or widen the holes, or I can just get some old lantern tin, my tin snips, and just cut out the tab part that's needed, and then figure out a way to nicely solder them into the back of these, or maybe JB weld it, or I'm gonna have to do a little research on temperature ranges for JB weld it, because that would certainly make things, well, simpler for one thing, but also will give me the opportunity to set them exactly where I want them. You know, if I doing something with solder and I'm off by 1 millimeter or 2, which would count, you know, going into these holes. So that's what so I was thinking, you know, here, like right out of this little area, cut a couple tabs. I don't need the wide part. I just need the tabs. I just need that part right there. So I make something that kind of would fit in this little area here on the back of these. It'll fit right in there pretty much. Boy, man, these are small tabs. But yeah, if I can make 3 of those, I'll probably make 4 or 5, because I might break this one putting the crown on. You just never know. But yeah, I know these get plenty of hot, but not hot enough to melt solder. I know that. But we'll just, all right. Well, something for me to think about tonight. All right, folks. That is it. Supervisor baby is long past his bedtime. Me, on the other hand, I'm usually up editing for another 3 or 4 hours after this point. But RAYO number 100. Well, we'll see where we're getting here. This is, all in all, this is not too bad. I think these pinholes, I'm just going to seal all them. So I've been thinking about the problem with my posts at the top. What I'm thinking, because of these, I was comparing all these. Let's bring you up here so you can see what I'm talking about. So we got these 3 different these types here. I would need to do a lot of thinning and forming and all kinds of weird cutting to get any of these to work on here. So rather than destroy these, I'm gonna take, and it's just a coincidence that I happen to have a chimney here, but it's good tin, and it's already got a curve in it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw out, I'm gonna cut out 4 of these things, and I'll form it, and just to the width. Oh, get my little pointer here. Now cut them out just to the width of this tab. So I'll cut them out. I will stick it there, and I'm gonna JB weld them on. And I did some research, and JB weld it is just fine up to 500 degrees, and even maxed out at 600 degrees. So I don't see there being that much of a problem. And I may actually kind of do a crazy thing that I'm thinking about, is maybe filling in some of that hole. All right, what I have here is a new pointy bit. This will turn into a pointy bit very quick, but what I'm going to do is just go very lightly with it, try to preserve its brushing effect, and get out these areas that I did do last night. But as you can see, all the paint just dried because it got all soupy in there. So I'm just trying to get rid of some of that paint that's in the corners and stuff here. All right. So I'm going to be moving to a 600 grit nylon bit, and I haven't been using any nylon bits on this yet because it's with its heavy level of rust. There's just a lot of this that I need to get through before this will be effective without just shredding itself. I mean, I could press down real hard in one spot and do some good before this is completely shot, but now I think I can use it. So I'm gonna try down here, see if I can even this all out, because right now it just kind of looks like a camouflage blanket. Okay, that did good to even things out a bit. And I did see, and I didn't do a whole lot of damage to the bit. I'm going to a wire reel here because I did see a little spot. It might be because I see it with my headlight on here. Which, if there are lines showing up in the video, I do apologize. It's the lamp, my headlamp. But I see a little area. In fact, I might need to turn it off. A little bit of red paint here, so I'm just gonna go at it a little bit here. It's quite faint, but when I oil this up, that's gonna show up a lot more. Gotta keep that in consideration as to the way it's gonna look when oiled up. All right, so I'm going to use one of these garbage bits. These are one of those, you buy a bag of 50 of them for $1, you know, Amazon. That's not really, but you get what I'm saying. And you can tell the difference in the size. And this is one of the Dremel ones here, and this is one of the garbage ones. Usually when you see the steel, it's that squiggly line like that. I don't know why, but that kind of tells you that they're cheap. And all these little spines are going to come flying out. So, I know to watch for that. I had to go to the... These things get stuck in my feet all the time. So, I'm going to use that to get us some of this, just this last coat of this rust mixed with paint, and I'm going to see how this does, and then I'll go to a nylon, because I'm just going to burn nylon, and nylon bits do not like these holes. Oh, speaking of holes, it's funny. So I'm looking at this thing, looking where a good spot to cut tin, and I'm looking at those holes drilled in there, and all of a sudden I'm like, boop. somebody, well, you can't really tell, but somebody messed up a little bit. I don't know about that. Okay, let's move on here. Oh yeah. That's what we need. All right, cheap fit. Now, let's do some steel woolen. All right, I need a fresh piece, I think. This is 00 as opposed to the 40 that I use for lanterns with metal in a lot better condition as this. So this is just a very tiny bit coarser. Oh, well, hello there. Yeah, you're going to burn your whiskers on that thing. Careful now. Or are you liking the heat coming off it? Is that what you're liking, bud? Oh, by the way, got working on this. I was off camera, started working on this. I kind of got in the zone and forgot to tape it. But that's about as good as this is going to get. Just amazing that this is all extremely weathered. And that's just beautiful brass because it was all painted over. All right, so we got that. And this. Oh. Got a cap. Got a cap to polish. We can do that too. We got a number of things to do before being done for the night, because this is going to turn in to a 3-day job, because we need to hey buddy, yeah, you want some of that? Oh, I know, speaking of really cheap bits, I have these really cheap polishing bits. It's going to make a mess, but we can play with it. Let's do that. Let's play with them. I'll use them up. So this was one of the cheap kits. So I'm going to put this on here. The second I fire it up, this thing's going to just fire off a cloud of wool. They call them wool bits. I don't think there's any wool involved here. I don't think it's wool or cotton or anything. It's all synthetic. Hang on, kitty. I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to cut my hand over it because it's going to go flying off. Yeah. See what I mean? Ooh, geez. Oh, yeah, the first flying. Yeah. Oh, boy. That's just going to go right in the garbage. All right, there we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. That big bit I was just using. I'm going to clean up the bottom of this crown, hopefully without making it worse. I need to clean up some spots to put some welded on. All right, so we're going to do that later. I'm going to fix these cracks here on this weld. Just plop a little bit there on top. It'll be just fine. Just want to make sure everything is structurally sound. All right. So, already cleaned that good. Throw some acetone on there. Let's just drop a little bead in there. Ah, that's all we need. Boom. All right. I may just touch that a little bit, kind of smooth it out. Okay, so that is taken care of. We gotta seal the tank. We gotta fix it. Oh, jeez, we gotta work on those. Gotta work on those posts. Gotta clean those up real good. Now, first I can do it. This should help. Okay. So now, what I want to do is make a template of the one. Make a template of the Survivor tab. Okay, so I mean, I'm obviously not replacing that whole thing. but it's kind of a height thing. So what I'm going to do, is that make 3 or 4 of those and then round the top. And what I'm going to do is, let's see, I could, so reproduce one there. So I'm going to take it this, I'm going to make a piece here. And I will JB weld it there. And that'll be my tabs. And I'm also going to JB weld the hole in the top of the crown there. This is, you know, this is all a kind of a learning thing too. This is, my brain tells me that's going to work. Maybe not the best way of working, but it is a way. And that is one way of achieving your goal, is achieving your goal, which is to get these posts working. So, gonna have to cut out some pieces and round the tops and things like that. And yeah, so that's the next order of business. Right, so what I have determined is that these post tabs are pretty much exactly the width of one of these blue stripes on this pad. So that'll make it pretty easy for me to trace those on here and cut them out. That's the theory anyway. So let's see how I can do that. So there's holes behind here in this chimney. I am not concerned about the holes. In fact, it'd be a good way to help these things bond a little bit to the metal. And I'm doing more than I need because I will most likely screw up a couple with the tin snips. And as I'm looking at this, I can see out of the corner of my eye the lines in the video that this headlamp is doing, and I do apologize. This, by the way, this is vintage. It's got to be 40-year-old pen. Okay, so we got our template. We got this, we got that, we got our cardstock, we got the thing. Now we get to play with the tin snips. We have 2 choices. These are funny. These tin snips have a little bit of an attitude. Some days you swear you can do brain surgery with one. The next minute it make a good boat anchor. All right. By the way, I had discovered that these 2 pieces were pressed together, not a solid piece. So I pried them apart. Gives me better space here for this, the tin snip to snip. Let's see what happens here. Wow, I'm getting a total flashback to art class. Making soup can art. This goes back to elementary school in like the 70s, man. This right here. Tin can art. Oh my God, I'm getting flashbacks. That's crazy. So like I said, I'm not worried about the holes in there. All right. How long do we need them? In any case, these need both ends chopped off. Well, look what we've done, folks. We have made tabs, maybe. And stupid me, now that I've, of course, hindsight, again, I should have gotten the paint off all that before cutting it up. But that's okay. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is round off the tops of these. They don't necessarily have to be rounded off, but it will look regular. Now I've got to look and see what way these things are curved. Okay, I did kind of take a soft hammer to them and kind of flatten them out a little bit. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to seal all the tank, and I'm going to call it a night. I just realized how long I had been sitting here. It is quite late. JB Welded job. We'll have to wait till tomorrow. But I am going to put the seal all in there. And I will show you how I do that. But first, let me round these off a little bit. I brought all my tools out to do all these fun things we're doing here, and they're hiding things on me. All right, let's see. Let's see here. Right. So we have made more than we need. Well, I'm saying that now. But I have it up here to try twice if need be. But that would be a little nightmarish because if I have to get JB Welded off the back of those posts, that would suck. Get in there. Another flashback to elementary school craft class is football, table football. Remember table football? I'm not going to do it because these things will go flying, but remember that? All right, now seal all for the fount. First, I'll look in the fount, make sure there's no surprises that I missed. I might just want to pour a little acetone in there and swish it around. That'll be my first order of business. It'll also kind of show me where the holes are, but I don't really need to know that. This would be a good excuse to use up this acetone that got a little cloudy on me. I need a little bit of it out to thin out the seal all. But I'm going to thin it out a little bit. There, it's just enough to seal it off. So, yeah, here it comes flying out the hole. But that's all right. Oh yeah, wow, that's really coming out. And this will dry up quite quickly. I should almost leave that on and kind of watch in time lapse as that all dries up. Ah, that's enough play. It dried up. Kind of fun to watch that stuff. It's kind of like you're watching a time lapse of it evaporating, but it's not a time lapse. Crazy. This and this. And we got some seal oil. So this is kind of a medium-sized tank. I'm going to use, I don't know, 2/3 of this thing. So I'm going to put this in here, and you'll see the consistency of it. And I'm going to thin it out just a bit with some acetone. Then I'm going to pour it in here, and I'm going to do a little dance where I'm going to... Oh, you know what I should do? Tape over that. Tape over those holes. So since it is late, I am going to do this procedure. And I will take this in the kitchen and set it on a radiator overnight. Nice warm radiator. This stuff, Walmart, Lowe's, Ace Hardware. It's under $6 for one of these tubes, and I can get two tank jobs out of one of these. So I'm going to thin this out a little bit with some acetone. Cool thing about adding the acetone to this is that it still has that cooling effect, and I can feel it in my fingers inside the fount as I'm moving it around. I can feel it because it cools it off in there. Okay, so I'm gonna put it in the burner hole here because if I don't want to get some in the threads accidentally here. So we're done with that. Here we go. Okay. And we're done with that. We don't need that anymore. Now, and it's cool that there's since there's a couple bubbles in it from me stirring it up, it helps you see it moving around in there. All right, so what I'm going to do is kind of let that migrate around. I'm doing this almost a little too fast, but luckily with this headlamp on, I can kind of see those little. I can see the stuff moving around in there. And since I do have one that's high up, now I forget where it was. It was one of these. Hole was high up, so I need to get this at an angle so the stuff creeps up into these spots here. I'm going to go all the way around, and then I'm going to come back to those problems with the biggest holes and work it around more. I'm changing the angle so I can make sure I get some of it up in this spot. up the side here. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back around here, and I'm gonna watch it. I'm waiting for it to come back. If there's any remaining, I will see it start creeping into the bottom here. I'm just watching. Okay, starting to collect a little pool of it. I'm not gonna say pool because this is spreading out pretty nicely. Wonder if this stuff migrates better when it's warm. If I were to heat this up a little bit. Well, I'm seeing something else I need to do here. I can see I did not put a polish on the outside of the brass filler spout. By the way, here with the patent numbers, the last patent date is January of 1912. There's the last patent date on that. January 10th of 1912. All right, it is the next day, and we have done our tank sealing. We don't need the tape anymore. We should be all sealed up. Now, got to make some preparations here. Big job here. But what I'm going to need to do is level out the top of these busted off ones. This tab I'm going to keep. I'm a little weary of what's going to happen there. That bending over, so I'm going to, when I go to put the crown back on, I will do this tab first and make sure it holds up. So, I'm going to kind of sand that down a little bit. So what I'm doing right now is I'm getting a piece of wire here. I'm going to tie up this crown a little bit. Give me a little height here. That's good. All right, good. That's giving us a little bit of height there so I can tape stuff to it and do whatever I got to do there to hold those things on, which I haven't figured out yet how I'm going to do. All right, I'm going to use the small clamps like I used for another job I did where I GB welded some air tubes. So now for this, I'm just I'm doing things to kind of learn things or figure things out and come up with new ideas. So what I got here, some sand. This is some play sand. I got more of that I know what to do with. So this is so silly, it just might work. I mean, it's gonna work, but well, I don't know. I'm using this foil so because I can mold it. I'm gonna use this sand here to hold it in place. Can plop some of that stuff on. So I'm just gonna take some. I'm just gonna kind of form missing spot I'm not going to fill in. Not going to fill in this area here because that's where that's going to go. I hadn't figured out how I would make that with a passageway for that. Anyway, so that'd be down the road. If I find that this works pretty well, I'll know that because RAYO crowns give out. So when I make some JB welded, I'm just going to take a little bit and go boop, 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 put it in there, fill in this here, and I'll fill in these little holes here. So might as well mix up some JB welded. All right, let's do that. Okay, so took a popsicle stick, split it in half. So I also have this stuff, this JB welded, this tank weld. This is a putty, two different, kind of like some soft candy that you meld together in it. But and I was thinking about that for this, but these things get way too hot, or this is not as heat resistant as this is. So, right. Okay, so we got a nice narrow one there. Let's mix this crap up and see what we're gonna do here. Lay a little bit of this stuff down. Gonna plop one of these on, and I'm gonna clamp it and move on to the next one. Does not need much because I'm gonna be pressing it, and that's just gonna squish out. Okay, good. And it's all right if I have them too long because I could always trim them. So, all right, let's put a clamp on, and this stuff's gonna squeeze around pretty good once I clamp this because these are pretty strong clamps. Okay. Good. That's what we are wanting. Good. Now, yeah, okay, well, don't need a whole lot of leverage there. And I am picking the ones I made that have the holes in them because that's a good catch spot for a good bond. Good, good, good. Another clamp. Clamp. Here's your clamp, doctor. Okay. One more. Okay, this one's pretty rotted at the top, so I'm going to give this one a little more length, just in case. Do not need that much length. Well, we'll need some length back. Okay, good. All right, that is that. So, we're going to leave this, move on to the crown. Actually, I wouldn't mind a little extra. Okay, extra vision and extra light. I mean, I know I am bonding this aluminum foil to the top of this, but I can grind it off if I have to. This is so silly, it just might work. I know the tops of these things get real hot. So, hard to say how long this is going to last. Hi, kitty. I see you over there. Now's not a good time, buddy. I'm not going to stop and pet you. All right? Come back later. So like I said, I'm keeping that little channel open there where the thumb ring goes. Because I couldn't quite figure out how I wanted to do that. And this is just kind of a test anyway. If these tabs work out well enough that I could take this cap off again, I can look into finding a replacement cap. This is crazy, but I see some very small holes here on this other side. I'm just going to throw a little on here just to hold things together. All right, so we have some of these little things left. So I'm going to save them because this is probably not going to work, but I'll have extras. I will have extras. Okay. All right. Well, it's been over 24 hours, and gonna observe what we got going on here. And I know this could be a futile attempt. You know, there could be just too much heat for this, but I want to try it anyway. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? So we'll work on that, and we have our modification here. I'm good. I'm glad that these clamps were not permanently. Okay. Good, good. I'm glad these things were not permanently attached. Good. Got to keep these things together or they disappear. All right, so I have, oh geez, that one drifted. Oh boy. And that one's a little tall. All right, well, hey. Okay. And we don't have to worry about the inside at all. So basically, it's not so much for a visual, but this is really just to return some of the structural integrity to this whole area that's all thinned out here. Nothing wrong to say about that. When we hit this with some oil, that'll darken up a little bit. Good. Okay, good. So I'm looking at this here, and I'm seeing this high hole here, because sometimes you can tell that the sealant has come out in some spots. Not sure if sealant made it to this spot or not. We'll have to test that. We're going to put some fluid in this. Okay, I think we're ready to continue here. Not a whole lot more to do on this thing, except return this to its home. Yeah, that's as good as we can get it. Yeah, that's as good as it's going to have to be. All right. So, which one is kind of crooked a little bit? Looks like that one. So we'll line that up. Let's see how my tabs work out here, boys and girls. Oh, 1, 2, 3. All right, got to get that one tapped down. Oh, that just happened there. Okay, so we're on our pull tab. Our pull tab is not situationed exactly the right orientation, but we had to do what we had to do with these holes. And it's doing excellent. Yeah, okay, good. Do have a vintage one. This should work. A real one, a real vintage one. All right, good. All right. I did a little smoothing out here on this mechanism, by the way. I want to put some kerosene in this and check that hole. And if we are successful, then I'm going to treat with the oil, and then we're going to call it a day. Another gun. Well, that was user error. That was all my fault. Okay. Misleading, it traveled down that rim and it's coming out. So I thought, okay. All right, it's on one spot. I could throw some, I'm going to throw some solder on that one. That way we can continue with our day here. All right, let's figure it out. All right, so I'm going to use my new bit I was talking about earlier. Clean that up a little bit so I'm going to get solder to stick. I think that's all I'm going to need. Glad I have that bit. Right. Let's plop a little bead right on that hole there. When I say bead, literally a bead. That's so crazy. But I'm going to make a little mess here, grinding that down with a different bit. Got to be a little solder flakes flying around here. No problems with that. I'm going to hit it with this and just put a gloss on it. Nah, I don't want to put a gloss on it. I do want to be a little careful with this acetone here around these pinholes around here, because acetone will reverse the seal all and turn it back to liquid. So, all right, let's try this again. What do you say? Not putting as much in this time so I can test. All right, hole is sealed. Should be okay on the rest of those holes, because I put a good amount of seal all in there and gave it, and I watched it migrate all over the place inside the tank. All right, let's throw some more in there so we can burn this rail. Now we can put this puppy in there and let it start to wick up some delicious kerosene. Not seeing any problems. Oh, got a treat. Son of a gun. All right. My bad. We're getting a sequence here. So I'm gonna put this on there for now. Okay, that'll make it much easier. Man, I feel discombobulated. All right, let's begin. Oh man, this is gonna look really nice. Honestly, when I first grabbed this lantern like I don't know, month or two ago, I didn't hold out much hope for there being much of a lantern underneath all that painted rust and things. And that weird looking brushed on paint and things. I like the way this is looking here. And I think probably because I feel much better now, knowing that it's holding kerosene as it was intended. I just realized that you were missing most of what I'm doing here, but not like it's your first time seeing me do this, right? In fact, what I'm saying right now is most likely hidden inside a time lapse. So it'll just be the sound of me going. Right. Now, let's try this again. Well, at least our wick has done its wicking while we were away from it. Yep. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm just admiring a little bit here. We'll see how that works when we got a globe in it. Ouch. Wait, got my finger. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Bent in an interesting way. See if I can help it a little bit. Yep, here I am. Like literally seconds from being done, but I can't help it. Okay. Okay, good. That's what we want. I'm gonna throw a little 3-in-1 on there. Couldn't hurt. A little lube. Good, good. Okay, so that thing was just kind of bent funny, and which is natural for something that's jetting out like that. And I could have bent it during all my modifications, but at least we reinforced that, which is excellent. reinforce that solder down there. Okay, it's not, you know, beautifully smooth, but that's just the way the rail mechanism is. It ain't smooth. Now we can light it. What do you say? All right, let's get in position to get this baby lit up. All right, RAYO 100. First burn. All right, let that warm up a little bit. Looks like we're gonna have a real nice flame off the vintage wick. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with the temperature here with our modifications that we did to the top of the crown and to the crown tabs up top here. It's already quite hot, and this whole thing will get hot after a while. All right. Well, okay, I got to have it away from the table here so I don't burn my light. That's over the top here. Oops. How much of that did you see? God, I hope you saw me light the darn thing. There we go. RAYO 100 lives again. She is burning beauteous. Super Baby and RAYO. Oh, maybe we'll give Super Baby a break here so we can concentrate on the RAYO. All right. Beautiful, beautiful flame. There you have it, folks. Took days, but that's working. That's working. Yep. Oh, yeah, I can see up in there. So as you can see here, folks, by the way, there's lanterns up there, but this is a wooden shelf here. And you can see I used to have Super Baby hanging from a hook there, and I didn't pay attention, and that's what happens. So Super Baby taking a much needed union break. And all right, folks. This was interesting. This was, I don't know, 3 days? How many days did this take? I don't know. Enough. How about that? But on to the next, and I got plenty more of fun projects for you guys to tune into. And folks, here we are. We're done. We're finally done. I get to edit this video. And as usual, don't you go change it.
Sit, Ubu, sit. Good dog.